All right, and welcome to week 8 to go on my road to Ironman Cairns. So for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. For those of you who have been here before, welcome back. My name's Trindall. I'm a 57-year-old triathlete based in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. And as the title says, I'm training for Cairns Ironman in June 2026. So these videos I make as a little bit of a recap of my training that I can look back on in years to come. But also after 40 odd years in the sport, I'm hoping if anyone picks up some little tips and tricks from these, it'll be handy and you can take something from that. Anyway, let's dive straight into the week that was. So week kicked off with a rest day on the Monday. So what I do there is every now and again I do, normally on a 14-day cycle, so I take one day a week off, but it really does depend on how I'm handling the training and the fatigue. So at 57, I'm not getting any younger, and I've got to really be cautious and listen to my body when it comes to the training side these days. So Tuesday morning was quite simply an easy bike, a nice easy zone 2. What I do in those at the moment is I threw 2x4 minute efforts at Ironman powering. So just starting to get used to riding with the pressure on the pedals that I'm hoping that I can ride in Cairns around that 5 hour 15 mark. And I'm hoping that's not too optimistic given my age. Anyway, moving on to Wednesday. Now what I've done here with my weeks is I've split my long runs and my long rides. So what I'm doing now is my long runs are midweek and my long rides is on the weekend. And I've done that because I felt that I wasn't recovering enough and getting enough out of having both long ride and long runs on the weekend. Plus the way my work schedule works, I do have a bit of a more flexibility there as well. So Wednesday morning kicked off with a 2 hour 15 minute zone 2 run, and what I'm very conscious of there is starting to practice my nutrition and looking at getting that sort of 90 grams of carbs in per hour, and I've been working up to that, and I'm finding that I'm starting to handle that a lot better without any sort of stomach upset and things like that. So moving forward, I'm hoping that's the way that it stays. Run went very, very well, very comfortable. Found I finished off extremely well, so that durability is starting to creep into my training there as well. So lunchtime I headed to the pool and I did a 2,500 metre swim. So I'm starting to introduce some hundreds here now to pick up that little bit of speed and tempo. And the 2,500 metres was literally a 400 metre warm-up freestyle, 10 100s on the 2 minute mark, just concentrating on form freestyle, and 1 minute rest, and then 10 times 100s once again on the 2 minute mark. But this time I added pull buoy and paddles to start adding some load to the arms and the shoulders, and the pull buoy obviously simulating that wetsuit, getting that back end up nice and high. So went quite well. I'm starting to see those times dropping down as well without even pushing the pace and keeping the heart rate there as well. So Thursday morning, what I do there is I jumped on the indoor trainer. So I'm using Rovi there on the Cairns course, but I have set a little bit of an ergo mode on that where I'm doing a 15-minute controlled warm-up up to Ironman power output, and I'm using power specifically on the bike. I do have power pedals, but a smart trainer as well, so when you're on inside you can use that. And then I do 3 by 18 minutes at Ironman power output with a 3-minute spin recovery. And then at the end of that session I get off and I did a 3-minute, just a tempo run, letting myself slide into the run for the first kilometre, pushing the second kilometre fairly firmly, and then just sliding off for the last kilometre as a bit of a warm down. And I finish about a K from home, which gives me a good kilometre walk back, just to make sure those legs are nice for the next day. So that's finished as my Thursday training. So heading into Friday morning, what I did was I jumped, I do a 10-minute warm-up down to the beachfront here in Margate, and then 4 by 4 minutes at 90%. So what has been very interesting with those is when I first started doing them, and my 90% I'm running at around that 148 to 152 heart rate. So if we're looking at a pace perspective, when I first started running these 4 minutes, I was flat out 4:40, somewhere thereabouts. And now I'm finding for the same pace and the same heart rate, I'm running through on 4:15s on that 4:15 pace. So, and I'm holding that for the 4 minutes. What I do at the end of each 4 minutes is a full 2-minute walk recovery and then repeat that 4 minutes. And as I said, there's 4 of those. And why I'm walking the recovery is because what I want out of the 4 minutes is I want to make sure that I'm running them correctly with good form, good breathing and good cadence. So I'm not building on fatigue here. I'm more looking at getting the body used to running a bit quicker and definitely a lot quicker than I'll be running at Ironman, but holding that good form and posture. So in the lunchtime, I went back to the pool. I did a 3,800 metre swim in the pool in the wetsuit. So, and why I do that is it's going to be a wetsuit swim in Cairns. The water's going to be approximately 23 to 24 degrees. So I want to get the body used to that heat. Why they're doing a wetsuit swim in Cairns, for those of you from other parts of the world, is we do have a box jellyfish. It's not that season, but its sting can be quite deadly if you do get caught. So they're just playing on the safe side there and having the wetsuit. And we do have to watch heating up in that wetsuit as well. So swim went well, very happy with the way I'm swimming through that. Finding that I'm holding the pace I want to hold at Ironman, and I'm doing it comfortably now. So with, this is 8 weeks to go, so everything's starting to fall in place, and the good thing is that confidence is starting to build as well. So now Saturday morning was interesting. I had a scheduled 5-hour ride. Woke up in the morning, the weather was a bit iffy, it was a bit raining, but I thought I'm still going to go out anyway. It could be raining in Cairns, so you might as well get used to it. I got literally 15 minutes from the door. I was soaking wet. It was Anzac Day here in Australia as well. So there's a fair bit of traffic on the road, and in the first 15 minutes it actually had 2 cars do a U-turn in front of me without even looking, which was... Luckily, I managed to just pull up. I touched one of them as I sort of slid into it, but the other one, I was able to get in and behind him. And so I thought, no, I'm going home. It's too risky out here this morning, and I'll sit on the trainer for a while. So I did jump on the indoor trainer, and my head just wasn't working. So rather than pushing it, what I did was I ended up doing 2 hours, and I called it at that. And I know I need the 5 hours, but that was okay because I knew on the Monday I was having a day off work, and my wife was heading up to Noosa, so I could get a long ride riding from Brisbane here up to Noosa, and I knew that'd be around 150, 160 K. So I sort of shuffled my program a little bit, listened to my mind a little bit as well, and also erring on the side of safety there, and just made that amendment and made that call. So, and we'll talk about that ride in week 7 to go video next week. So, okay, Sunday, open water swim. So the weather was still a bit iffy. There's showers floating through, heaps of swell. So it was an interesting open water swim. In fact, I felt a bit seasick. So it was literally white tops on the top of the swell. So you were sort of falling off the back of the swell, so to speak, and going up and down, and I just guessed it messed a little bit with that equilibrium and just threw everything out a little bit. But I ended up only doing 40 minutes in that swim, which I'm quite happy with, because the purpose of the swim was really just to get out in open water, in wetsuit, in rougher conditions, just in the case once again we get those conditions up in Cairns. So it wasn't so much about fitness there. So Sunday afternoon, finished the week off with a nice steady zone 2 run, and it's an upper zone 2. It's sort of heading into a tempo run, but not quite. And what I'm really liking about those now is I'm doing them very comfortably, and I'm doing them within 15 and 20 seconds of my Ironman pace now, knowing that I've probably got another 10 or 15 beats a minute to spare there in heart rate. But saying that, I'm also knowing that I'm still not, 60 minutes. I haven't done a 5.5 hour bike ride prior to that as well. But we'll see how that goes. There's still a little bit of time to build into that. But overall, very, very happy with the way my week went, and very very comfortable with where I'm at, given the progress, and especially given my age, and how I'm learning that as I've gotten a bit older, I need to structure my training a little bit differently, and I also need to listen a bit more to my body, especially as far as recovery goes. So anyway, if you've made it this far in the video, thanks so much for watching. If you subscribe, thank you so much. If you haven't, you know the drill. Any questions at all, please feel free to throw them down in the comments. I like seeing comments there. I don't get a lot. And until next time, guys, stay safe out there on the road. Cheers.